test begins.
Zack Proton he's a bumbling, inept 12-year-old starship captain. He thinks he's a great hero, but he's completely incompetent. And anytime he comes to the rescue of somebody, invariably he makes the situation worse. He's got a sidekick, somebody he met in outer space. His name is Omega Chimp. And Omega Chimp is the last test monkey ever sent into space and then left there. And there's a third character in the books. He's a defective robot droid named FE-203. Effie was part of a massive recall. He was the only individual robot to escape the recall, but he's very defective. And he, along with Zack Proton, they're always making things worse. And so they're just bumbling their way from one adventure to another. My name's Brian Anderson. I live in Austin, Texas. I teach chemistry at the University of Texas. And I also write children's books, and I make custom piñatas. I wrote my first kids' book in 2003. It was The Adventures of Commander Zack Proton. Before then, I had been writing screenplays for about 10 years, trying to break into Hollywood. And I'd had some success in contests, but not breaking in. So my friends told me, Brian, you should write kids' books. I had 2 daughters who were reading an incredible amount. And so I wrote a kids' book. I sent it out to 6 New York publishers. Simon & Schuster bought it. They gave me a 3-book deal. Because of my screenwriting background, I think visually, and when I was going to write a kid's book, I was thinking of writing a cartoon in book form. So my editor, she found an illustrator, a man named Doug Holgate, who does comic books in Australia. The appeal is to kids who love cartoons, they play video games, but they don't read books. So I wanted to write a book that when the kid finished reading the book, he felt like he had watched a cartoon. And then he'd want to read another one, and want to read another one. And then he'd read something besides Zack Proton, and then he'd be on his way to reading the Newbery winners. I've gotten emails saying, from a mom saying I'm her new hero because her son doesn't read, and now he's reading. He's reading these Zack Proton books. He's sneaking to read the Zack Proton books. But the books are just fun. The kids can smell an educational book a mile away, and they know this is fun. This is a cartoon in book form. My childhood and the way I was raised has a lot to do with Zack Proton, because when I was a kid I didn't read kids' books. I read comic books, thousands and thousands of comic books. And so I think in a comic book mindset, and there are comic book pages in Zack Proton. But a lot of the influences, the things that affected me when I was a kid, they appear in the Zack Proton books. And when I go to schools and talk to kids, I talk about that. I talk about my childhood and how you can see here in the story, and here in the story, and here in the story where these ideas come from. They come from things in my own life. And I try and help inspire the kids to draw on their own lives and their own experiences when they make up their own stories. My biggest challenge writing these books or anything is getting the time for it. Because teaching at UT takes a lot of time. I have 2 great daughters. I'm very involved in their lives. That takes a lot of time. So the hardest part for me is getting time to sit down and write. But I've recently set up this room that I can write in and kind of get away from the family. So I'm hoping to have better luck with that.
The universe will have its way. Too powerful to master.
I think the biggest surprise for me in writing kids' books has been the community of writers. And there's such great people out there. That's been wonderful for me, because I knew all these people in LA, I knew all these producers and agents, and I knew how the whole system worked, but I didn't know anyone in New York. And when I started writing kids' books, I was just sending them into a black hole, not knowing what was going to happen. And it got bought right away, and so here I was, a published writer who didn't know anything about the industry. But there are so many, even local in Austin, so many great children's writers, and they're so helpful and open with information, and they're just great people. They're fun to hang around with. And you have never partied until you've partied with librarians. Let me tell you.
Become a Docublogger. Log on to Docubloggers.org to share your opinions and story ideas, or get out your camera and create your own docublog.